Good morning, everybody. This is Tao of the Day. My name is Martin John. I'm your host for Tao of the Day. This happens weekday mornings here on Central Time. And just wanted to come on. I have a workshop today, so I'm coming on early so I can just have a little time to, you know, get my voice back and be prepared for my workshop a little later this afternoon. Something I've been doing recently is getting on and utilizing different translations of the Tao so that we can, really start exploring how other people have translated the Tao outside of Stephen Mitchell and Hogan. And Hogan uses Mitchell, and really kind of getting back. I was reading some translations from the early 1900s, and that's a really great it's a really great exercise to trying to understand the depths of the Tao. And it's not even really understanding. It's a embodying, really embodying this idea that we are being held and that we are part of a greater thing, and that greater thing has concepts and ideas that we as human beings can't really grasp. When we get into the mode of grasping at what we understand, we always like to kind of compartmentalize things. There's good and there's bad and there's right and there's wrong. But really, and even recently I was thinking about, like, one of the things that I notice that trigger me are consequences. Like when you do something, something else happens, and really there are no consequences. There's just really this idea of what is happening right now, and am I in touch with, and am I being guided by the Tao? Because if I'm being guided by the Tao, then there are no consequences. Everything is just leading into another thing, and you take that one moment at a time. So that is an interesting thought I had during my morning meditation this morning, and I would love to invite you to step up and pick a number between 1 and 81. Why do I go 1 and 81? Well, the Tao Te Ching is a couple of chapters or texts or writings. The Tao Te Ching consists of 81 sections and 81 chapters, whatever. I don't know what to call them. They're 81 things that together create this canon of reason. And I express the Tao Te Ching as the canon of reason, the collection of writings to help you live a reasonable life. Ashley, how are you?
Great. How are you?
I am doing very well. Welcome to the Tao of the Day.
Thank you. I've been listening for the last little while, so I'm glad to be up here. Thanks for having
Oh,
me.
absolutely, absolutely. So are you familiar with the Tao?
Yes, I am.
You are wonderful. How did you get introduced to the Tao?
Actually, one of my closest friends, she studied yoga. She studied to be a yogi in India, and so she introduced me to it.
Yeah, like the Tao and the Bhagavad Gita,
Mm-hmm.
which I'm sure you were introduced to as well through that.
Yes.
They have very similar. And there's someone. Do you know Dr. Rao?
Yep. I've seen him. I don't know him, but yeah, I've
Okay,
seen him.
yeah. So Dr. Rao is here, and he talks a lot about Brahman, and I talk about Tao, and we're just talking the same stuff. So this is a beautiful place to be able to talk about those things.
Most definitely.
All right. So as you probably know, I just invite you to pick a number between 1 and 81, and then we explore that number of the Tao together.
I would love the number 7, please.
The number 7. So many people have that lucky number. Let's see. Let's see what 7 has. So the Tao is infinite, eternal. Why is it eternal? It was never born. Thus, it can never die. Why is it infinite? It has no desire for itself. Thus, it is present for all beings. The master stays behind. That is why she is ahead. She is detached from all things. That is why she is at one with them. Because she has let go of herself, she is perfectly fulfilled.
I love that.
So,
I
what are
feel like,
some of your thoughts?
well, at first felt like it spoke of the fact that of timelessness because we seem to be the only plane of existence that thinks of things in terms of time.
Hmm.
So it speaks to the fact that we have always been and are and always will be. And I also think that it speaks to the fact that we are as we stand in this moment and we are who we've always been. So yeah, I think
Yeah.
I think that's really beautiful actually.
That is, like it is. And so, this has two sections. Like, I don't know if you caught on to that. This idea that the beginning is like the Tao, and we're
Mhm.
going to talk about the Tao, right? So the Tao is infinite, eternal. Why is it eternal? It was never born, thus it can never die. Why is it infinite? It has no desire for itself. That is, thus it is present for all beings. And this is just the section that just kind of states things, and it states them in a way where it's like, oh, we are the one contemplating this, right? The Tao is infinite and eternal. Then they ask a question, why is it eternal, right? So that's the human mind, right? And then why is
Mhm.
it infinite? And then there's the second part that talks about the master. That's us, right? We're the master. And at the end, there's this, or that's the goal at least, right? Like we want to become the master of the Tao. We want to be able to understand that. And then at the end of this, it says, because she has let go of herself, she is perfectly fulfilled. And then the last line of the first section is, it has no desire for itself, thus it is present for all beings. And that's a really nice mirror
I
there,
like that. I feel like it speaks to the fact that, you know, that we're not really about being or becoming a master of anything. We literally cease to have that need because we have one infinite time to continuously grow, but we're at peace with how things just are and letting things be in terms of not needing to prove ourselves, just knowing innately who we are and letting things be as a whole because we're all connected anyways.
That's right. I see that, and that fills me so much just to hear that, right? Like just feel it's like within you is Tao, and Tao is this thing that is infinite and eternal,
That's inspiring.
right? Like so beautiful. And then
I,
and so let's so were you gonna say something?
no, I just to me it's like, I hear those words and it hits home in like a way that it's almost like a smack to the face, but then at the same time, it's hard to keep that feeling all the time. That seems to be the mindset that's hard to keep on.
That's right. And Dr. Rao came on yesterday, and we were talking about this idea of, staying in this place. And in the idea of staying in this place is every time you get a thought that takes you away from Tao, thought that takes you away from Brahman, you you ask yourself, like, who had that thought? And then you just sit with yourself, and you start to tear apart that facade. You start
Mhm.
to really break that apart, and as you break that apart, you get deeper and deeper into who you are. You get deeper into the Tao, the Brahman that exists within you. And so I'd love to start, just, and I know we kind of went through this, but I like to go through it line by line to see, what else we might be able to pull.
Sure.
So the Tao is infinite, eternal. Why is it eternal? It was never born, thus it can never die. That were you raised religious in any way?
No, it wasn't.
Okay, so how does that sort of how do you understand that? Because like, you know, there is this idea within people and within those of us who have like frontal lobes and concepts and theories and logic and all that, like I understand infinite, I understand eternal, but I understand it in this box of understanding because infinite
Mhm.
and eternal are both things that we cannot really grasp, right? We can't
Well,
grasp that.
I think it's I think it speaks to who we truly are as a spiritual essence and energy, like an energetic essence,
Hmm.
more so than say our life here. And I think it speaks to the fact that there aren't people above us, in my opinion, like divine. I believe we're that divine. It's part of us. We were the creation of that. And we all embody that. And I think we're searching outside of ourselves for those answers, for that happiness, for that divine, for those answers, when really it's been within us all along. It's us.
Absolutely. Yeah. It was never born, it can never die, and yet it is within us. And even though it's within us, so many of us are afraid of dying.
Hmm.
And it's interesting. Like I went through a dark retreat, and so I want to point out that we're afraid of being born as well. Like the idea of leaving the warm womb into the world and being alone. Like when I was in my dark retreat, like in which I spent 6 days in the dark, when I left that space, I very much was afraid. There was fear about going out in the world and being alone because even though I was alone in the room, I didn't, I was with myself. And so there was
Exactly.
this, right? And there was this, it wasn't aloneness,
I, yeah, I think when we go out into the world in that sense, we're realizing just how singular we are instead of realizing when we're alone just how connected we are to everybody.
Right, because that's so beautifully put. Yeah. And here we are, trying to understand these concepts of eternal and infinite. And we have some box of understanding of those things. And yet, like, when we close our eyes and put our hand on our heart, we can just connect in a way
Hmm.
that, in a way that isn't, isn't about understanding. It's about being.
About
Right.
listening.
Yeah, it's about just being here. It's about listening to this heart, listening to this, and asking that question, who had that thought? And
I
then
love that. That's so cool.
we recognize that that isn't us, that is something that is something in our brain, right? Our brain had a thought, but our brain is simply a part of a body, and
Hmm.
that's part of the separateness that we are. And the separateness is beautiful as well. There's nothing wrong with the separateness. There's nothing wrong with embracing that separateness, but there is something infinite within us.
Yeah, I think that's to me. I love the uniqueness within each person because when we listen, we can learn from each other so much more. But we can learn so much, but at the same time, when you're just still a lot of that's already within ourselves. We
Well,
just
it,
haven't
it's
realized it.
all there, right? It's like, and
Mhm.
that's the thing. Like we are filled with Tao, and it is infinite and eternal. And why is it infinite? We go on to the next line. It has no desire for itself, no desires for itself. Thus, it is present for all beings. The moment you have a desire for yourself, the moment you want anything, then you are turning yourself away from something.
You're turning towards ego.
Oh, yeah. Like the moment you want, even if it's the moment you want what's best for your child, you will start leaning in a way that may put somebody else in a position because of fear that you won't have what's best for your child.
Mhm. Usually
Like,
it is fear or
yeah,
a thought of what we think's going to make us happy, but then again, that's going outside ourselves to find that, and that's where it's moving away from the Tao in essence.
right. The moment you have a desire is the moment you kind of have given birth to fear.
Mhm.
So that's and this is just talking about the Tao. Now we move into the master. The master stays behind. That is why she is ahead. How does that read to you?
To me, they you're going to allow people to be like to find who they are, to find their inner self. And to do so, you have to allow them to go their own way. So you can be there to help guide them in ways that might have worked for you, but you have to allow them to find it their own way because it's sort of like doing your child's homework for them. Yes, it'll help them pass, but it won't teach them anything in the long run.
Right. Yeah, they'll learn this. They'll get by this lesson, but the
Yep,
next lesson, you're just gonna have to do that again if you want them to do just as well.
exactly.
And that doesn't give them, the Tao talks a lot about like not giving people something to learn. It's like I'm not here to teach you. I'm not here for you to learn anything.
I
You're
think
here
that's
to
where a
do
lot
that.
of people get confused because they think that if they go see quote unquote a guru or something that they should be getting answers, but really they're just guiding them back into themselves because that's where it is. They have to find it within themselves because that's where it's always been. And a
That's
lot of times I think that makes it scares people away because they don't understand that everything is there. They already embody it.
Yep, everything is here. It's just about clearing away all the chatter
Hmm.
from the mind or from the brain, and yeah, the mind and the body and all of this stuff. And then we move into the master being detached from all things. That is why she is at one with them. So this moves into this idea of having desire. If you have desire, like if when the Tao is infinite because it has no desire for itself, thus it can be present from all beings, this is where the master can be detached. When you have no desire for yourself, you can be detached from all things and you can allow them to go their own way. That is why she is at one with them. You can be present. You can be present right now in this moment if you have nothing to prove.
Hmm.
But the moment you have something to prove, you're attached to an outcome.
Sort of like the cause and effect in essence that
Yeah.
if they can if they can sit back and just watch and allow things to happen as they're meant to, they're not actually creating that ripple that's unnecessary to begin with. They don't need to try to control it, they need to just let it happen.
Yeah. And then the final line, because she has let go of herself. And when we say let go of herself, we're talking about her attachments, her identity, her desires, her death. She's let go of everything. And because she has let go of everything of herself, she is perfectly fulfilled. She can be here right now without it, without a direction, without a goal.
That's pretty amazing.
Does that resonate with things going on in your life today?
Right in this moment, hell yeah. Thank you so much for allowing me to come up. This was really great. I needed it.
Ashley, I'm really glad. It's really wonderful to meet you and to engage, and I look forward to doing it again.
You too. Take care.
Absolutely. Have a wonderful day. All right. Well, what a wonderful number seven with a new Dow guest, Ashley. That was beautiful, and we covered seven very nicely, I think. And if you have a number between 1 and 81 you would like to explore, definitely step up. I am always open to exploring more. So, for everybody that's out there, I have a workshop today. If you're interested in the work that I do, definitely hit me up on Instagram and I'll make sure that you can get links to pick up tickets. The tickets, like I do have a donation ticket. So even if you don't have a lot of money, but you have 3 hours this afternoon from 9 to noon, it is a 3 hour workshop from 9 to noon Central Time. So it will start in just under 3 hours from now. And it is a Recover Yourself workshop. Yes, Recover Yourself does revolve around some recovery things, but really it's all about you recovering who you are. Recovering the depths of all the things that like it's about getting out from under the influence of other people, other ideas, other concepts. So much of our lives we're living under the influence of our parents. We're living under the influence of all of these things, and we even live under the influence of our own desires. And when we live under the influence of our own desires, as Ashley and I were talking about, we can't be present for all things. And when we can be present for all things, we're really recovering who we are. And then we can be perfectly fulfilled in this moment. So, if you guys are interested if you guys have 3 hours free from 9 to noon today, Central Time, definitely you should check it out because this workshop is all about recovering who you are. And when you recover who you are, you get to be fulfilled because you start letting go of all of those influences that are all around you. So, if anybody has a number between 1 and 81, definitely step up, let me know, and I would be happy to explore the Tao with you. Ashley and I explored number 7, and if nobody steps up in the next couple seconds, I'm going to go ahead and pick a number for myself, and I am going to choose a different translation. Um, there are so many different translations of the Tao, and there was translation in the year 2000, and I'm going to go ahead and pick number 49 from the Chang translation. A wise ruler has no preconceived ideas. He adopts the people's ideas as his own. I treat good people with goodness. I treat bad people also with goodness. This is the virtue of goodness. I deal with honest people with honesty. I deal with dishonest people also with honesty. This is the virtue of honesty. For the benefit of the world, the wise ruler harmonizes all ideas. The people pay attention to him through ears and eyes, and he treats them all like his children. So, this I can see. Like I know this one. I've explored this one many times with many people, but this is a different translation, and so we'll explore it a little differently. So, a wise ruler has no preconceived ideas. No preconceived ideas. This is an important aspect to the recover yourself model that I work with. This is a big aspect of so many different things. If you step into this conversation, if you come up to Tao of the Day with a preconceived idea of what you are expecting, well, then you're already closing yourself off to so many things. He adopts the people's ideas as his own. And, this is a wise ruler. And when we talk about a wise ruler, we often want to think about people who are ruling other people. But a wise ruler is you. Like you are the wise ruler. You rule your body, you rule your life, you rule your thoughts, you rule all of those things. And so if you can rule your thoughts and have no preconceived ideas, he adopts the people's ideas as his own. What is the people's ideas? Well, the people's ideas are the ideas that are surrounding the wise ruler, the ideas that are coming in. If you're talking about your mind, well, your mind is constantly adjusting because of what's coming in. So he adopts the people's ideas like as his own. He adopts the ideas around him. He adopts the concepts around him as his own. And you don't judge it. You just allow them to come in, express themselves, and go out. So this is an interesting aspect of this specific translation because we start with a wise ruler. This is a third party. We're talking about something like you want to emulate a wise ruler. That's what is kind of being said here. A wise ruler has no preconceived ideas. He adopts the people's ideas as his own. Okay, that is separate. That is a wise ruler. Now we move into this next text and it says, I treat good people with goodness. I treat bad people also with goodness. Now this could now take us into the realm of we are now the wise ruler. Right? A wise ruler has no preconceived ideas. He adopts the people's ideas as his own. That could be introducing the wise ruler. And then we have these quotes because there is the big I. And the I could very well reference the I that is within each and every one of us, the I that is connected to all of us. I treat good people with goodness. This could also be the Tao. I, the Tao, treat good people with goodness. I treat bad people also with goodness. Now, can we, if we don't have preconceived ideas, because what like a bad person is a preconceived idea. Like so if someone comes into our life and treats and we deem them bad, that's a preconceived idea, even if we have proof. As I was mentioning earlier about consequences, consequences are an interesting thing because there are no consequences. There is just a moment to moment to moment. And so you know, when you do something and you're fearful of consequences or something, to be able to, step away from that idea that there are consequences is an interesting aspect. And I think this points to that, rather loosely, but it still does point to that. I treat people with goodness. I treat bad people also with goodness, because the idea is, if here's a bad person, well, if I treat them good, I'm going to be hurt, or I'm going to be, um, or whatever. This is where we don't adopt the grand ideas as our own. Right. This is the wise ruler. The wise ruler has no preconceived ideas. We step into it with a preconceived idea. If we treat bad people poorly, right? If we treat, and this is how the drug war has been, laid out for us. It's like, hey, these are bad people. We're going to treat them poorly. This is how prisons have been done. They did bad things. This isn't Club Med. We're going to make sure that they suffer, for a long period of time for something that they did once, or even if they did it multiple times. So this is the virtue of goodness. The virtue of goodness is treating bad people also with goodness, and treating good people with goodness, not treating people differently, not having preconceived ideas of how you're going to treat somebody because of who they are. I deal with honest people with honesty. I deal with dishonest people also with honesty. This is the virtue of true honesty, right? So the virtue of goodness is treating everybody with goodness. The virtue of honesty is treating everybody honestly. For the benefit of the world, the wise ruler harmonizes all ideas. So this is an interesting thing. For the benefit of the world, the wise ruler harmonizes all ideas. Harmonizes all ideas. Hmm. So all ideas are harmonized under the wise ruler, because the wise ruler taps into the virtue of his actions, the virtue of your actions. You treat good people with goodness. You also treat bad people with goodness. Imagine if we were to treat prisoners with goodness. Imagine if we were to treat drug addicts with goodness. So many of us in the world today, in the Western world today, think, oh, if you treat them with good, you give them an inch, they'll take a mile. Well, maybe, but I was talking to someone not long ago about different aspects of, like, do you feel good that you do that, right? Like if you're taking advantage of a situation, and you're taking advantage of people, how good are you going to feel that you do that? If you're hurt, this is the big thing, right? If you're hurt, if you're abused as a child, and you start taking advantage of people as you get older, as you're getting older, and you're taking advantage of people, taking advantage of your situation, taking advantage of your privilege, taking advantage by manipulating situations, and all of these things, that's not going to give you a whole lot to be proud of. And this is why the wise ruler just lets things take their course. Yeah, you treat bad people with goodness, because those bad people, quote unquote bad people, also need goodness in their life. Too many of us have experienced bad people. Too many of us have experienced bad things. Too many of us have experienced things that made us, you know, resist and close off. When you allow someone to open up, and then they contract again, you continue to stay open, and you continue to allow them to open. And when they do, they're profoundly moved. I remember going through times where my siblings, my brother and sister, were at each other's throats all the time. They hated each other. And I had to express to them both that, like, look, you can turn the other cheek, but you have to do that. Like, and this is just a thing. I was like, you have to do it 3 times. You have to turn the other cheek 3 times. If you can't do it 3 times, you'll never get past this. Because the thing is one person would concede, and the other person would constrict. And so when one person would concede to something, the other person would kind of throw it in their face. Well, then once that was thrown in their face, the other, like, let's just call it out. Like, my sister would concede to my brother. My brother would throw it in my sister's face. My brother then would feel bad about it and then try to concede to my sister. But then my sister would throw it in his face because he did that last time. Well, now we're on this never ending cycle of the inability to ever find a way out because, well, every time I'm going to give a little, you restrict. So I told them both. I was like, you're gonna have to do this 3 times, and this is just my kind of take on it. Whether there's actually a number or if 3 is perfect, but I thought, okay, well, if my brother would just turn the other cheek 3 times, no matter what my sister did, it would prove that he was doing it for the right reasons and not trying to manipulate the situation. I don't know if that's true, but if my brother were to concede something and my sister throws it in his face, and then my sister feels bad about it and so offers an invitation to concede something, and then my brother could accept that instead of throwing it in her face. He accepts it and he shows up, and there's still animosity there, of course. But then my brother goes away and then concedes to my sister once more. It sends my sister an invitation. And then my sister shows up, and that animosity is now going to dwindle. It's not gonna be there because my sister will then have seen that my brother is showing up consistently, even though it's only 3 times. And this is treating good people. This is treating bad people with goodness, right? This is also trying to just be present in this moment. Like you have to let it go, and it's not just once. Because I think that was the problem for years. They would turn the other cheek one time. They'll say, "Okay, this one time, I'll let you. I'll send that invitation to my kid's birthday out." And then boom, they reject the invitation. And it's like, oh, well, fuck you then. And then I'm gonna get an invitation. You expect me to concede to this? Well, the only reason you're getting an invitation is because they feel shitty about that. So now you want them to feel shittier, and this is why treating bad people badly is a shit way of spreading love in the world. Sure, they're bad people, whatever. They fucking shit on you, or they didn't like what you said, or whatever. But either way, like if you treat them with goodness, if you allow them to be, if you allow them the space to find goodness within themselves, then you can really, like, this is when you can be truly fulfilled. You can't be fulfilled if you're constantly looking for um, you can't be fulfilled if you're constantly looking for something outside of yourself to fulfill you. So for the benefit of the world, the wise ruler harmonizes all ideas. And that's what this is. You want to harmonize things. It's not easy. It's not easy to harmonize all ideas because those ideas have to be harmonized over time. So you're going to have to do it over and over and over. It's not just one and done. Every day you wake up and you go at it again from this vantage point. The people pay attention to him through ears and eyes. See, that's an interesting line because although you are stepping up, right? And this story of my sister and brother kind of going back and forth with, animosity and frustration and stuff is where when you pay attention to him, like the people pay attention through ears and eyes. So when my sister does something, she is only using her ears and eyes to say, see what he did. I heard him reject my invitation. So that gives me permission to treat him badly, right? Like I have the right to be angry. Yes, you do. You absolutely have the right to be angry. But do you want to accept that invitation? Over all the other invitations, you have a right to be. You have a right to be better than that as well. But you don't have to accept that. And that's the big deal, right? Like we have to recognize that for the benefit of the world, we need to harmonize all ideas. We need to make sure that we're treating good people good and treating dishonest good people good and treating bad people good. And that we're treating honest people with honesty and dishonest people with honesty. Just because they're being dishonest doesn't mean we have to call them out. Doesn't mean we have to do anything because they are using their ears and eyes to pay attention. And you, as the master, are using your heart. And so this isn't about making a stand. It's about being here, being present for all things. And you treat everybody like your children. You treat them like, and the interesting thing about children, and this just came to mind, when you treat others like your children, what you're doing is you're not teaching them, you're giving them something to observe. Because children aren't taught things, they learn things, and they learn those things by observing. And so if you give them anger to observe, if you give them animosity to observe, if you give your children frustration to observe, if you give your children alcoholism to observe, if you give whatever you give your child to observe is what they're going to learn. You may think you're teaching your child with the whole, do what I say, not what I do mentality, but what you do is what they learn, no matter what it is they do. What they observe is how they're learning. And so it's important for us to recognize that those around us are paying attention with their ears and eyes. But you're acting through your heart, you're acting through the Tao. And that's how we treat everybody like our children. We give them we give them something to observe and they can learn on their own. We do not give them something. We do not teach them anything. And that's what Ashley and I were talking about with number 7 as well. So that is a wonderful translation of this 49. And this is coming from Hong Cheng, David Hong Cheng, which was translated in 2000. So that's a fun translation. I enjoyed that. And it's interesting. I don't know how David Cheng's translation is. That was the first translation of his that I read. So it's interesting. I enjoyed it. It was pretty straightforward. It was a 2000. It was written in 2000 and translated in 2000. So very nice to come across his work. If anybody has a number between 1 and 81, we'll definitely step back to Stephen Mitchell or another. Her Majesty Abby is going to come up and.
Good
Her Majesty, it
morning.
has been a minute. How are you, dear?
I know. I am doing well. How are you?
I am very well. Just
Good.
here doing my Tao as I want do.
I love it. I love listening to you go into explaining it and all that. It is so amazing. I love that.
Oh, well, thank you so
Yes.
much. It's always
Yes.
great, to get,
Hmm.
like let me just put out it's nice to be praised.
Yes. Yes, it
You know,
is. Yes, it is.
especially especially when the work that I do just comes so naturally. I don't really think about it too
Wow.
much and
Wow.
I just get to explore it. So,
That's beautiful. I mean, you're onto something great. You really are.
oh,
You
thank
really
you so
are.
much.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm glad that, like I feel like and I hear often that it's helpful
Mhm.
and it's nice for people to
Yes.
to sit with. So yeah, so
Uh,
so beautiful. And it's great to
It
be connected
is.
with you. How have you been?
Oh my goodness, I have been amazing. I've been just on high. It's been good. Yes.
I am very glad to hear that.
Yes.
So let's find a number to explore together.
All right. So yesterday I had a good friend with me and she is 80 years old, so I'm going to go with
Oh,
80.
80. Wow. Well, congratulations to them.
Yes.
That is definitely an achievement. So
Right.
so okay, this starts with if a country is governed wisely. Now I want and I don't know if you and I have talked about this, but anytime we talk about country or
Mhm.
people or anything. We want to be able to talk about the broad. Yes, if a country is governed wisely, that could mean a country, but it could mean your body. It could mean your family. It could mean your thoughts, right?
Mhm.
So from the infinitely large to the infinitely small, if something is governed wisely, okay, so it'll say country, but we're going to have to make sure that we keep in mind
Mhm.
the how wide that can be and how small that can be. So
Okay.
if a country is governed wisely, its inhabitants will be content. They enjoy the labor of their hands and don't waste time inventing labor-saving machines. Since they dearly love their homes, they aren't interested in travel. There may be wagons and boats, but these don't go anywhere. There may be an arsenal of weapons, but nobody uses them. People enjoy their food, take pleasure in being with their families, spend weekends working in their garden, delight in the doings of the neighborhood. And even though the next country is so close that people can hear the roosters crowing and its dogs barking, they are content to die of old age without ever having gone to see it.
My gosh. Wow. Why does this always connect to people? Me, like, I feel like it's just connect. What is it? A magic behind it or what? What
There
is
is there is
it?
quite a bit. There is quite a bit of magic behind it. So we have to recognize that the Tao was written in 600 BCE. Okay? So it's been around for a long time. Many people have studied it. Many people have read it. And so we have to recognize that when we pick a number, you know what you're picking. You are part of this universal Tao intelligence. And so when you need something, your body is going to tell you what that is. And you, in your mind, believe you are separate from everything in this way of like you have an edge of your body. But
Mm,
really, when we can get to the place of trusting that we are not separate, that we are actually all connected throughout time, and time doesn't exist. So the Tao exists within you in this place, not in your mind where you store information,
mhm,
but in your body. And when I ask you while I am in touch with the energy of Tao, when I ask you to pick a number, your body tells you what to say.
mm,
You may think you have a reason for picking 80,
mhm,
but that's just your mind giving you a story.
mm. Wow. Wow. I get chills. Oh, God.
Hmm.
Oh, my gosh. I mean, this is how this relates to me. I'm in the process transitioning. I'm trying to build an empire, really. I am trying
Hmm.
to. And um, the people I work with, okay, I have made them feel and actually is a part of what I'm doing. And I kid you not, the dedication they put into it. Sometimes I wonder and I realize that they could go somewhere and get better, whatever, but they just take it as their own. And my continuous praise of them, I realize that they're giving of their best.
Hmm. Well, then you're creating a beautiful like then you're creating a beautiful country, right? In the
Oh,
sense of this, right? If a country is governed wisely,
mm,
and like if you're, building a company, let's say, if a company is managed wisely, its employees will be content.
yeah.
They enjoy the labor of their hands and don't waste time investing in inventing labor-saving machines. They're not trying to cut corners.
Mm-mm.
They're not trying to do something quick. They're enjoying the process of their work.
Yeah. Wow. And I wish everybody or we all can do this because, one of the things that I made sure to do was, when I moved into a new building, I give them a space for them to personalize it as much as they can. And you will not believe, I walk in there, I'm like, wow,
Yeah.
just that freedom for them to move and maneuver and not feel judged, restricted. It even makes me want to even do more.
Yeah. You know, it's interesting. Like my last job when I
Hmm.
was a project manager at a company, like, I had my own cubicle and stuff, and I didn't care to make it my own. I didn't do anything. Like I put a couple pictures up of some people that I loved, and but really it was it was really just subdued. I didn't really care. And and that really spoke to the fact that it wasn't managed well. It wasn't a company, that it was a startup, and everything was about, praising the person, not the work. And so everything that I did, I just felt was, shoveling. Like it wasn't, it's like on a steam engine. You
Hmm.
shovel your coal into the fire, and and the steam builds up to create power. But the thing
Hmm.
is like I was shoveling coal into something, and it wasn't like there there was no pressure being built. There was no it wasn't going towards anything. It was constantly getting released. And so
Yeah.
the train never got out of the station.
Wow. I like the way you put it. That's
Yeah.
amazing. Wow. You're
And
so
so
wise.
and so like I was, like, and that's the thing, like every time you invest in something, you want it to do more. And if it doesn't do more, you're going to get tired of shoveling coal.
Hmm.
You want
My
to
God.
contribute to something bigger.
Hmm.
And this is why we don't invest in, like, when you can enjoy the work that you're doing right now, you can
Hmm.
enjoy it because you know it's worth it. The minute you say, let's cut a corner, let's save time, then you're thinking of something else. Your mind is wandering to doing something else, being something else, trying for something else. You're not here present with what you are and who you are.
Wow. 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 Even when we take it down to the human body, you
Yeah.
know, our
Mhm.
government is the brain, our mind.
Yeah.
And when your mind is set right, every part of your body is happy.
Right. When you allow your body to be your body with that, like, you want your brain to leave your body alone,
Right.
you
Right.
know? But no, your brain comes in and says, "Oh, you know what? You put on a few pounds. Oh, you know what? Like your nails aren't clean. Oh, you know what? Like no one's gonna like you because your hair isn't brushed." It's like, leave me the fuck alone,
Right. Exactly. Right.
you know?
And
As
it's
we
so hard
continue,
to do.
it is. So as we continue, since they dearly love their home, since you dearly love your body, you're not interested in going outside of your body. You're not interested in finding, like the right makeup. You're not interested in finding the right clothes. You love your body as it is. Yes, you can find the right clothes, but you're not distracted by it. You're not taking yourself away from yourself for it. There may be a few wagons and boats, but these don't go anywhere. There may be an arsenal of weapons, but nobody ever uses them. There's so many of those things that we have in our lives that we don't reach for. We don't reach for them because we're content with who we are.
Yeah. Wow.
And then you enjoy the pleasures of food. People enjoy their food, take pleasure in being with their families, and spend weekends working in their gardens, delighting in the doings of the neighborhood. You just kind of observe your body
Yes.
and what you're doing, and you navel gaze, and you just kind of like allow yourself to be present here in your body as it is.
Mm.
And that's what like your staff will be doing, right? They'll be like, I love myself, and so I can be here, and I'm not trying to cut corners. I'm not trying to make things easier. I'm just doing what comes naturally.
Wow. If a government is what? If a country is governed wisely.
Yes.
Wow. Wow, wow. You're so smart. You're
Thank
very
you.
wise. I mean, I don't know your age, but you seem like a very old soul. Yeah,
My soul has been through this a couple times, I think.
yeah, yeah. And I hope that you get a bigger platform because this is something that, it helps mental health a lot. So my prayer for you is to get a bigger platform
I will
where
receive that prayer.
yes, yes, where it's so much needed. It really is so much needed. I don't know whether you've thought about even going to schools and having a Tao Day. I don't even know because this is not about any particular religion, really, is it?
No, it's not. It's philosophy
Yes,
more than anything, I think. Yeah.
and our youth these days, if they will have this knowledge and wisdom and understanding, I think that we'll be on to a better world. So I am praying that, you get that. It's very
That's
much needed.
Yeah, I would, I'll explore that. I mean,
Should.
I mean, I do my recover yourself stuff. I got a workshop today, and and I have workshops coming up, and would love for you to join me for one of those if that's ever something that you're interested in. But,
I will.
which revolves a lot around
I will.
the Tao and my work and stuff. So I really
Mhm.
appreciate your interest. Definitely, shoot me a DM and we can, talk
Oh,
about things further. But and
okay.
this one finishes up with, and even though the next country is so close, and you can talk about this as your business, right? Even though the next company is so close that people can hear its roosters crowing and dogs barking, they're content to die of old age without ever having gone seen it. Like, what a great concept of like,
I
yeah,
know.
I know it's there, but I'm so
Mm.
interested in me and my surroundings
Mhm.
that I'm not. I can give a fuck about what other people are doing.
Exactly. Exactly. It's almost like the saying that say, don't ask for less trouble, but ask for more wisdom to be able to,
Yes,
it's like the country or whatever the situation, the world, the universe, it's not changing. You have to change you to adapt to it. So you
that's right.
can't change people. You just change you. So once you're content and wise and govern wisely, you'll be able to withstand all that. You're not moved. You're not moved.
Oh, so
Oh,
beautiful.
oh,
Her Majesty Abby,
oh,
I so appreciate you, your
I
words,
do
your
too.
company this morning. I love you. Good luck
I
with
love
that
you too.
empire.
Thank you. Thank you very much. And I hope, you reach out to these troubled teens in our schools. That would be great. That would be
Yeah,
great.
it would be
Amazing.
beautiful. And
Yeah.
I'm intrigued by the concept, and I'm going to put it in my Panda planner, and we'll see how it
Yes.
unfolds.
Yes. Thank you so much. I appreciate you.
Thank
Have a good day.
you as well. Wow, what a wonderful morning. And number 80 is such a beautiful chapter. Love number 80. And it is always such a delight to be able to explore. And yeah, maybe I'll go out and do some talks for some high schools and stuff all about the Tao Te Ching. Who knows? You can talk to some English or philosophy teachers in high schools, and who knows what that can turn into. All right. Well, if anybody wants to step up and pick a number between 1 and 81, I'd be happy to do another number. Otherwise, I do have a subscription service if you want to have conversations with me one on one once a month, and as well as getting special content that I write all about recovery and, well, recovery in the grand sense. What is it we're recovering to? Not everybody has to struggle through the concept of recovering from, but we're all recovering ourselves completely, wholly, as we are. All right. Well, I also have that workshop happening in a little over 2 hours. And so if you're interested in the Recover Yourself workshop, definitely check out the links in my bio. My bio has links to my workshops as well as my subscription service and all of the things that you will find. You can find me on. If you're interested in having a little conversation, set up a 30-minute free call through my site and DM me if you have any questions directly around the Tao or other things like that. Thank you so much. I'm your host, Martin John. I also host the Recover Yourself podcast and Recover Yourself Everything. I am the Recover Yourself guy. So if you're looking to recover yourself, I'm the one you want to be talking to. Thank you so much. And until next time, keep recovering yourself.